That's right, cheers. And wine, which feels very Lilith.
It does,
doesn't it?
Lilith.
Mm-hmm.
Wine on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. Do whatever I want. Do whatever I want.
Podcast over.
Mm-hmm. I know. Do whatever the fuck I want to do.
What is the, what would you say is the signature theme of Lilith?
Probably do whatever you want.
Do
whatever I want. Whatever the fuck I want. And I don't care if it does anything to you in any sort of way. Not in like a harmful way.
No.
But I need to live my truth.
Your authentic.
My authentic truth. Yeah.
And to not make yourself small and fit into roles that don't suit your soul.
Mm. That one's huge.
That is huge.
Yeah. I know, it gets me too. And when we were talking about this before, there's so many different representations of Lilith through different storytelling, and because we have, you and I have had different training and different belief systems and lifestyles, you have such an interesting perspective too on that, like dark feminine, and the ability to be in the underworld, and the story of Lilith. And I always try to tell it with my clients in astrology, because we do use, as Western astrologers, we do use Black Moon Lilith in the charts of the native. Shows us where our voice has been restricted, or where there has been sexuality that has been misused or misplaced or abused, and or even in childbirth or child rearing or becoming a mom. We see that with Lilith. And so I always have to give this quick little a quick soapbox kind of situation, or an elevator pitch, I guess you'd call it, where it's she was Adam's first wife. She didn't want to be on the bottom.
Right.
He kicked her out. She went down to Hades. She was going to be the queen of the underworld. He's like, you're way too much for me. He kicks her out. She's exiled to the woods. She is a witch. And this is where she is like, I don't care if I can't be me in these situations, I'd rather be by myself.
And I'm authentically me, alone in the woods.
It's great. And then she's vilified through, the patriarchy, essentially, as this, murderer of children and stealer of semen. That's the funniest bit to me. She'd go and sneak in and steal the semen from men so they couldn't have babies.
Right, if you had erectile dysfunction.
Lilith.
You can't finish. Lilith. Can't make a baby.
That's right.
It must be Lilith's fault.
Yeah.
If your baby dies.
That's right.
It must be
also,
Lilith's
she
fault.
would steal them, yeah.
Because the version of her that was just existing without harming anyone authentically on her own in the woods was so terrifying.
And then she becomes an advocate for birth control, your ability to control when you conceive, abortion, just varying degrees of single parenthood, even a single mom. She gets to be, I guess, a symbol of that for us as women. So I find her very powerful.
I find her very powerful too. Yeah.
And to speak what you want sexually, to say, I like this, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this, I'd like to try that.
And that reclaiming of sexuality, of something that belongs to yourself.
That's right.
And that it doesn't belong, isn't owned by somebody else.
That's right. So if you choose to dress a certain way, or to adorn yourself in a certain way, or to have cleavage, or wear short things or tight things, or things that feel good. Exactly.
For Lilith. I'm doing it for Lilith.
That's right. I know. I usually do. Rebellion. Through my tits. Yeah. But it is that, it's that doesn't mean anything. However I am, however I appear to you, and your perception of it is your problem.
Yeah.
Not mine, and being comfortable in the uncomfortableness of that sometimes. Yeah.
With how you're perceived. And then, the fear in the story is that the story of her is powerful for many reasons, but one of them is the way that women can turn on other women who are in power, right? So it's that's very much in that sister witch wound too, that she experienced that, just going her own way became so scary for people who are weren't maybe living in their own authentic truth, because somebody else doing it makes it so scary when you actually have to look at yourself and go, am I actually okay with how things are and the roles that I've chosen to swallow and the ways I've made myself smaller? And sometimes it's easier to make somebody else demonized, right, than to self-reflect. Heaven forbid.
Yeah.
Well, it is a hard thing to do.
And think about like a family where if like a woman decides she no longer wants to be with her husband and they have children and you know they have like this domestication of each other and then she decides, no, I'd rather be on my own because she's unhappy or she's being again put in a box. It's like how many times, and I mean like I've left relationships, you've left relationships where the women in the family who were your support system now all of a sudden don't understand you anymore. Yeah. Even in your own family, this can happen.
And never mind even just the women in the family.
Community.
Like there's like even the men.
Oh yeah.
Right? To be like, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really scary
thing
for people.
And people don't always understand that you would rather be alone. You would rather be alone than be suffocated in someone else's idea of how you should be. And that resonates so true for me.
Yeah, I'd say like freedom is my highest ideal of anything.
Me too.
And that actually resonates. Like, if it's not freedom, it's not love.
Yeah, I agree.
If it's not freedom, it's not love.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I couldn't be in something where I wasn't allowed and supported and able to just do whatever the fuck I want.
Exactly.
Knowing that I choose moment by moment to do whatever the fuck I want, also keeping in mind that I love people. You know, and that we get to choose though. Yeah.
And she is a protector of women. Yeah. You know, when you need that voice to say it's okay that you don't feel the norm or what is considered normal. It's okay. Yeah. You're allowed to have those feelings. You're allowed to express in that way.
You're allowed to have doubts about being a mom. You're allowed to like not like things sometimes.
Yeah.
You're allowed to not like the traditional roles.
That's right.
And just it's okay.
Yeah, and you're not here some kind of plaything for society or men or women or whatever you know your lifestyle is. It's like
And I love that the symbolism of her being rejected by Adam and then rejected by Hades. It's like she's not meant, and none of us are meant to walk fully in the light or fully in the dark.
That's right.
We're meant to walk our own path as light and shadow, right, in fullness. And that's where I do feel like that the story of Inanna really resonates for me on the frequency of Lilith, in that Inanna had to go seek her sister, her twin sister who was in the underworld. I'll just give like the brief bit. Inanna, Queen of Heaven, like all the, you know, the Lady of the Light, right, had to go into the darkness, and every gate had to like shed more of her sense of identity that associated her only with walking in the path of the light. So she had to give her crown, and give her this, and then give her that. Basically, until she gets to the final place where she's going to meet her twin sister, Ereshkigal, completely naked, and then realize they weren't separate at all. Ereshkigal wasn't her twin sister, but was the exiled part of herself. So they become one and come up together, and then she's actually in her full power. But she had to give up the societal constrictions of only being okay if you're this and this and this and this, realizing that we're like a full spectrum.
That reminds me too, I love that story. I'm glad I was going to ask you to share that story. It's where we've been exiled. In our natal disposition, our cosmic disposition, Lilith in our chart is where we have been exiled. So you can look to the system, your chart system, or the house system, however you read your chart, and see. So if it's in, you know, your 5th house of love, that's where mine is, 5th house of love. That's where you've been exiled. Right. And then deeper too, the sign. So, you know,
so you get to reclaim there. It's where you've been exiled, but it's also where you get to like mine for your your Ereshkigal.
That's right, exactly. Your shadow,
Right?
your beautiful shadow.
Your golden shadow that
Yeah.
waits for you.
I also love that she's in a sign, a 9-month sign for her transit. So she has the cycle of like gestation. So she's in a sign for 9 months. So there's like a rebirthing every time she enters, which I love that too.
I love that.
This is where like you pick up the symbolism and are able to piece together why she is a representation of these parts of us, where we're, you know, able to claim an abortion or to claim our right to have children or not have children, or have sex or not have sex, or even she even rules like the sex industry. So should there be someone who says like, I am, you know, a sex worker, I choose to, even women or people nowadays, you can choose to use your sexuality on OnlyFans or any of these places, and it's like that is your choice, whether we agree or disagree.
Right.
That is actually your choice.
Yeah.
So I think that's really, it's playful, it's
That is
beautiful, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's provocative, is what I would say.
Yeah. And yeah, I love that, like looking for where she is, to be like, where have I exiled myself from this power that's there, and then to do the work of like, okay, bringing her in.
Yeah.
Like for me, she's like right on my ascendant.
She is, but she's
like,
the 12th house still,
she's
right?
12th house.
Yeah.
She's like 1 degree off, which like rose in the sky like one minute after I was born.
And she's in Cancer, so like
Cancer in the 12th house.
Yeah. So exiled for your hidden gifts that keep you safe, or hiding your gifts from the light to keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
Because of fear of exile.
There's the witch
Right?
wound.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and mine is conjunct Mars she's actually between my Mars and Pluto in the 5th house in Libra, which is that like over-compromising for love and not being able to balance like the healthy sexuality. And it made me think of a story when I was explaining my Mars Lilith conjunction in the 5th house to someone, and they thought I was hitting on them.
Clearly must have been another astrologer.
These are astrologer problems. I was like,
for someone to get that, they must be really like stretching.
No, I was like very overtly being sexual apparently, which to me makes me laugh because that's essentially Lilith in the 5th house would be like over sexuality.
Right.
So even just explaining it got everybody all hard and bothered.
This is where my Lilith is, and they're
like,
assuming like, oh, great.
Down for some extracurricular sexual activities, which I was not, but if I wanted to, I could. I'm like, wow. Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
Yeah,
that
so
story
these are
is
the Lilith.
amazing.
I know, it's so good. Yeah. And then you have a Lilith tattoo.
Yeah.
Her glyph, which is a glyph is a sacred symbol.
Which is the crescent moon with the cross of like creation, right? Coming down into coming down. And I believe you do too, my darling, which I had the great honor of putting in your skin for you. And actually we have like quite a few of our ladies that have been part of our like inner circle, inner world work that have chosen in the process of mining the gifts of their exiled power to get that same tattoo in the same place.
Yeah.
Which is
I
really
like the
cool.
cross is like the crystallization. So Saturn, like there's a lot of the cross in the glyphs, but it is that like calling down the divine to earth, and then you're crystallizing it, you're bringing it in, which I mean, we could get into all sorts of, it's almost Easter. There's another podcast maybe for next week. The symbol and of course Christ, and then crystallization and bringing down the divine to earth. But the horned moon, and also the ability to be able to cut ties. And,
yeah, it's a sickle too.
That's right.
The crescent moon is also like a sickle, so that's cool. Yeah, I love the cross. You're right.
Yeah.
That might be for another podcast.
Yeah.
Another chat.
Yeah.
I like calling them chats. It sounds more. It's nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I love her.
Me too.
Wow. And then it's like, whew, so reminding me, like when you claim a symbol, it's like, to me that's it's like the ultimate offering to her as well.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah, and if you're going to work with her, there is a responsibility to yourself and to the magic. A lot of times you'll hear women that are walking in the path of witchcraft say, well, I want to use Lilith. Of course we do. She's empowering. But there is also a real responsibility. And the responsibility is the moments in time where you could choose to be silent and you choose to actually have a voice, even when it is so uncomfortable. Like, that is how you're honoring her. It's actually really difficult.
Yeah.
And every time you choose to like dim your light, so you're gonna go somewhere and you're dressed a certain way, and then you go, oh, I shouldn't do that, I shouldn't say that, I shouldn't dance that way, I shouldn't laugh so loud, I shouldn't. Yeah.
Or the ways that we abandon ourselves
Mm-hmm.
to compromise or make
Mm-hmm.
things easy for other people,
Mm-hmm.
or keep the peace, or hope to be chosen.
Self-exile.
Self-exile.
I'd rather just tuck into my little safe cave or my like cabin in the woods and just like, doesn't matter. Like, I don't want to fight for myself. It's like, you actually do have to. If you're going to work and be with her, you do have to fight for yourself and what you believe in. It can be hard.
Okay, so as a final wrap up here is, because I honor her and I claim her, and I also sometimes fall short of that ideal because I do have a nature that wants to keep the peace and stuff, right? So when you notice that you've self-abandoned, or when you have, realized that you've like over-compromised or made yourself small to keep the peace, like, how do you come back into balance with her, with self-forgiveness and right?
That's a really good question. I probably like would reclaim like my sexuality, like my pleasure. That would be where I would lean to. So I would spend time, like, especially if I had completely self-abandoned, like had gravitated outward or had like sat in shame or like made myself small, I would definitely be like, and like maybe like too much information. Oh, but I'd definitely be like, get naked, like touch myself, be in my pleasure, like bring myself back to me, reclaim my own pleasure, my own sovereignty in my body in that way, as just like, I need to come back to this. And then that makes me joyful, and that makes me relaxed, and that makes me happy. And then I tend to walk a little different after coming back to that. Because I do find that when I'm not in alignment with that truth, then my needs tend to like fade back, and I'm gravitating outward.
Yeah.
And then I'm finding my, I would say like my pleasure or my affirmation, I'm finding it like externally. And then usually in that, like the way that I'm walking is like I am dimming or making myself fit someone else's like ideology of me. So then I have to like really come back to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Reroot.
Yeah.
Recrystallize in your
That's
own
right.
being.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. You really just gotta like fuck yourself. That's it. When you tell someone to go fuck themselves,
And
you have to do it for yourself.
You
And do whatever the fuck you want.
In alignment.
And what about you?
Oh, it's like I asked the question whether it really, because it's something to think about, right? And I guess recently, I realized I had been kind of avoiding something that required, right? Speaking some truth and being afraid of being disappointing.
Oh yeah, that's the worst.
Right? In relationship and in family relationship. And that was when I realized though how much energy that was siphoning off of my being, right? For a long time. So to face the fear of being rejected or seen as bad, and just being like choosing that me speaking the truth is me choosing to love myself, and even though so I guess it's like looking for those places and actually just saying the hard thing, and from choosing that even if someone thinks I'm bad, or even if this person rejects me, or even if blah 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 blah, it's better than me rejecting myself. And I choose in this to affirm my goodness and know that I don't have to be perfect in the eyes of anyone or any belief system or anything at all, and to know that that's enough.
It's beautiful.
So yeah, I didn't realize I did a Lilith ritual this week, but I did.
That's a hard one.
It's hard.
Yeah,
to
to speak even though you may be disappointed by the reaction.
Yeah.
But it's like, that is showing up for you.
Yeah.
Because that being out instead of sitting here, sitting your shoulders are back. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And our choices to do or not do the things that people expect of us, they have real consequences.
They do.
They do, you know? And it can make people sad.
It can.
And that's a sad and hard thing.
Yeah. And we may be the villain in someone else's story,
We may
like
be the
Lilith
villain
was.
in someone else's story. And having the courage to accept that you might be the villain is worth it.
I agree. Yeah, I love it. That was beautiful. Thank you. Love you. That's great.
Actually, that's really good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, that's a good one.